Hey guys, if you clicked on this video, chances are your fork seals are bad or you just like to watch people do stuff. This is sort of like a mid-piece in the MT-07 stunt build. We do still have gearing to change and we do still have a handbrake kit to put on the stunt bike. Other than that, we're very close. But zoom in on this, we are leaking fork oil. Not that bad, but still, we want to get that sorted before the summer starts. And while we are doing that, we will also take the opportunity to replace the springs and get some preload adjustability with this Öhlins kit. So it's just new springs, spacers, and these caps that allows you to screw them in to adjust the preload, which is pretty nice. Stiffer forks are preferred because it makes stoppies easier. I can't fucking do stoppies, but I wanna start practicing stoppies. So we're gonna do that, put some thicker fork oil in there as well. But either way, if you want to see how to upgrade the suspension, if you want to see how to replace the fork seals, you'll get to see how to replace every single part inside the forks, how to take them out. I'll show you some quick tips on, like, if you don't want to buy the actual specific tools, there's some hacks you can do with like electrical tape to get the new fork seals in. I've done that previously when I was a broke boy. So I don't judge, it's whatever gets the job done. However, getting the forks out of the bike, that's up to you, how you lift it up. We got the rear wheel locked into this vise and I will take a lift underneath the bike, lifting it up so the front wheel gets off the ground. You can also get a lift that lifts up here, like a manual one. You can put rope on the handlebars and lift it up into the ceiling. That's up to you. There's so many ways to lift up a bike and it all depends on your situation. So let's get right into it. All right, now to lift the bike up, as I said, we have it locked in with a rear wheel. I will take this small lift, put a piece of wood in between and lift it by the oil pan, something like that. One thing I have seen, like either if you have stunt cages, you could just lay the bike on the side. Also, I've seen people put it on the side stand and then putting a floor jack on the oil pan, making a triangle between the stand, the pan, and the rear wheel. It's very sketchy. I think I did it once and the bike fell over. I have stunt cages, so it's not that big of a deal. But you know, do this at your own risk. Starting off, I'm gonna put a 6mm hex key in the top clamp and start to release the pressure on both sides. Because to make things easier for me, I wanna release the pressure on the cap while it's still being locked in by the triple tree. But this gives pressure on the threads, making it hard to unscrew. So just unscrew this one a little bit and then we can release the cap a little bit. It will all make sense, I promise it will make sense. This is a bit of a rare size, it's a 22 on these up here. So just release the pressure. Oh, these weren't tight at all. It just makes things easier. If these are on really on there and you have the fork on its own, it's very hard to grip the fork enough to get the leverage to get it off. Now let's get this wheel off. First we gotta get the calipers off and the ABS sensor on the right side. So take a 12mm for the calipers. And I will give you guys the correct torques for every nut that I feel it's necessary.
Wrist movement.
Yes, electric tools are for fools. No. I would love some electric tools, please. There we go, both nuts. Take a 4mm hex if you have the ABS sensor. That comes right out. Wiggle it a little bit to separate the pads. Then it's easier to pull off. Now we'll head over to the other side and do the exact same thing. If you're worried about scratching, you could have like a plastic bag or something available. Since this is my bike, I don't really care too much about my stunt bike. If you look at the caliper on the other side, you can show them. You could put it in a bag or put some cloth around it to make sure it doesn't scratch your rims or anything. There we go, calipers off. Now they're hanging by this. Alright, this can just hang off to the side. I think I'll get the wheel out first and then I'll do the mud guard. Get a 19 and then also 6mm for the pinch bolt that's pinching on the axle so you can't unscrew it. Just get that out a little bit and then unscrew the wheel axle. And the wheel just drops down. Now, as you can see, it's hitting the mud guard So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna raise the bike up higher until it clears. I can just roll the wheel out. I'll put this to the side. Now we'll take the mud guard out. I'll let that sit on top, and once we pull out one of the fork legs, it's gonna be easy to remove. So we already let go of the pressure up here to let go of the cap. Now we can unpinch the fork down here. So that's gonna be 2 pinch bolts right there. Now be ready and hold the fork, because once you let go of the pressure, usually they don't, but they can just slide right out, straight down into the workbench, like that. Just work this bad boy out. There we go. Put the mud guard down, that's 1 fork leg. And the same thing here. There we go, that's 2 fork legs out. Now let's go take these bad boys apart. First thing we're gonna do, remove the screw in here underneath. You're gonna need an extended hex key like this. It's a 8mm, so you can reach in there. Sometimes you can break these by hand. I'll put this in a vise to hold on to it. There we go, put it in a vise just to hold it in place. And we can see if we can, yeah, we were lucky. I think we will be able to get this screw out, no issue. That screw can cause this whole thing to spin, and it can be impossible. It will just spin in place and never get out. You could try an impact wrench to be so fast that you break it loose and get it out of there. Otherwise, your other option is to put pressure and compress the forks. The more you compress the forks, like this, the harder the pressure will be on the inside, and it will spin less internally, and you can get it out that way. And if you put all the pressure you can while using an impact wrench and you still can't get it out, I would seek professional help, because you're gonna need a special tool like this and hammer into the fork, and it's a whole thing. I mean, you're gonna have to look that up on your own. I've done it once, it's not fun. Let's get this screw out all of the way. There we go. All right, it's Dank from the future. We have an issue, what I was just talking to you guys about, spinning. So you can see the tube is spinning, and you think, just hold it, right? No, you can feel everything inside just spinning and spinning and spinning. So we'll try the impact. And for the best chances, I'll still try and put pressure together. Oh, success! That's how you do it if you're struggling with that thing, and then just increase the amount of pressure you push it together. I've had times where we had to be 2 people. I had to grab it like this, and then just all I fucking could squeeze it to my chest while he impacted it, and that even didn't work. So what we had to do then was to unscrew the cap, pull everything out, take a tool like this, hammer it in, and it's a whole thing. But let's get back to it. Past me will take over again. Now all your remaining fork oil will leak out. Let's start removing the cap. Now we can take our 22 again and work this cap out. Now this is spring loaded, so once you get to the last thread, it's gonna pop up. So I recommend you put pressure down while you're unscrewing it. So kind of push down and spin. Shouldn't be that loaded, but you never know. There we go. So that's your cap. I like to place things in order. And then you let it slide down. This is your spacer. We will be replacing this and the cap. Then you have this disc. This you will reuse in the Öhlins kit. here we have the spring we're also replacing. Now, even if you're just replacing seals, you still have to take this out. Now we're gonna pull these two parts apart. So take a small flathead driver for the dust seal. So that's your first seal, and just pry that up. We can get that out. Replacing that as well. Now inside here you have a clip ring like this. This is what holds in your oil seal. Make sure it can't back out. So what you're gonna wanna do is take your driver, get in there, get it in and like bend it up and get it out of there without scratching your fork leg. Because if you have scratches on your fork leg, your forks are gonna leak. So try to find where it starts. Get your driver in there very carefully. And pry it in and up. There we go. Put that to the side for later. Now your forks are ready to be pulled apart, and that's gonna be a bit violent. You're just gonna smack, smack, smack until the oil seal gives out. So just, oh, so easy. Sometimes you have to use a lot of force. Now, if it didn't come out on the tip of that thing, we have this in the bottom with a tiny, tiny spring inside it. Let's put that to the side. Now this is completely empty. All you want to do is clean this. You can run some brake clean in it. Just make sure it dries before you put fresh oil in. All right, this is your oil seal. This was what was holding everything together. These are your bushings. It should look like a Teflon pan. If you start to see like gold shining through, that is worn through the Teflon, you need to replace those or your new seals won't last for long. So I'll just pull straight up. Get the oil seal out, this metal ring, and one of the bushings to inspect, because this one, the Teflon is on the inside of the ring. This big one, it's on the outside, but they both look good, so I will actually not replace my bushings. My bike is barely broken in yet, so I wasn't expecting them to go bad, but they can go bad already after like 10,000 kilometers or like, yeah, 6,000 miles. I think that is about, yeah, like my first time I did that, it was about that distance and mine were completely worn. So I'll grab some paper and wipe this tube down because we gotta just inspect it for damage that could lead to the leaking forks. So you just want to make sure there's no nicks or like grooves that you can feel with your finger or your nail. I think these look good to me. So we'll start to put things back together. So the spring, spacer and cap are the things we are replacing, but it doesn't matter, they go in the same way. Either way, the spring doesn't matter what direction. That goes for both the MT-07 spring and the Öhlins spring. These are pretty basic. These forks, it's an old school design from like the 70s, 80s. The fork all we're going for both with the Öhlins kit or without. I'm trying the 15 weight. Stock is 10 weight, and you know they're notoriously smushy, especially with a harder spring. I think I can run harder oil as well, should work out good. And if I still had the stock set up, I would run this as well, just to get some of the sponginess out of the front forks. Starting to put everything back together, you start with your small bushing, get that on there, then the metal disc as well. Now it's new part time, your new oil seal. What I have seen people do is they will take a plastic glove like this, put it on top of the pipe as a condom and lubricate it, and then put the seal on, just to be extra super careful not to damage this new oil seal. For me, as long as there's no edge up here where there's like a bit of metal sticking out that could scratch the inside of the oil seal, I'm good with just getting some grease. We have here just some normal workshop grease. Put some on my finger. I'll lubricate both the inside of the oil seal, and I'll put a dab around the edge up here as well. Now your oil seal with the metal spring edge facing upwards. Just slide it onto the side. Careful like. Get it down there. Beautiful. So grab yourself a spring. Take the OEM washer. I don't think direction should matter, but I just put it back the same way it came out. The same with this, if you have the OEM, just put the tube back in. But we'll put the Öhlins, it's a bit of a longer tube. Boom. And lastly, the cap. If you have the OEM, put that. If you have this one, make sure you back out the preload all the way to make things a bit easier. Now you pull up on this, put that on top, and you're gonna need to do pressure on it. And to make sure you get the threads correct, instead of spinning to the right away, I like to put pressure, spin backwards until I hear it click. There, and then I'll spin it forwards, just to really make sure I don't mess up the threads. You don't have to screw this down all the way. We need to take it out to fill the oil later. But let's do grease again. And now it's the outside of the seal that I want to grease up so it's easy to get into the right place. Easiest way is just have it upside down. You'll take this little cap with a spring inside, put it on top here, get your lower leg, slide it over, carefully get it in there. Here you have the plug. This copper washer is a gasket that should be replaced. If you don't have one, probably you can get away with using the same one, but we will replace these. Seems we're out of that size in copper. I'm just gonna use aluminum. I don't see any way that would do like galvanic corrosion or anything. I'll risk it for you guys. But if you can, the stock one is copper, get a copper one. Slide that bad boy on, get it in the hole. Same thing, I like to spin things the wrong way around, then forward. There's probably a torque spec for this, but usually this is a thing that's just like good enough is good enough. If it's spinning on you, like this one is really nice to work with. It's not spinning at all, but if it's just spinning, putting pressure down, and then torquing it, can really help. So let's get the cap out again. Spacer, disc and spring. So what you want to do is pull until it stops, push down the oil seal, make sure you clean this really well, and then you get electrical tape and you go around, building up an edge that is, I'd say at least like 3 millimeters thick in a very straight line. You do not want it to build a ramp so it penetrates. You need it really flat, but that is the thing you can do. Just build up that wall, and since it's moving freely, you can just slam, and work that oil seal into the thing. You can find YouTube videos on how to do that. We, however, and what I would recommend you do is get a cheap multi-tool like this. And these work, so this works from 36 to 50 millimeter, so you will be all set for most forks. And a weight that is roughly the right size. Oil seal driver. Just hammer that in, and you can lift it up. If you can see the cut that this was in, full and clearly, and you think you can get this in, then the oil seal is in place. That was very smooth because we lubed it up. So, you know, avoid trouble like that. You can get this off. Put it down, take one edge into the cut, and then work it around. Now, just take my little driver to push the last piece in. There we go. All right, we got the oil seal in there. Now we're gonna start to fill it with oil, because the oil measurement for these forks are without the spring. You know, always cross-reference your service manual, but I have done this a few times. I roughly remember how much it should be, but reference your manual. It's about 400 milliliters, 403 milliliters of oil. Both legs are identical. So here we have the 15 weight. Recommended is 10, but you know, that's soggy, so run it up to the 400 mark. Tad more. Pour it in there. Oh yeah. Looks way different than the goo we got out of there, right? So fork oil has service intervals to replace just the oil, even if your seals aren't bad. We gotta pump it a bit to get it in every nook and cranny in order for our measurement to be correct. So the forks take about 400 milliliters of oil. It's not an exact science. Some people may want more oil, less oil. There's measurements out there anywhere from like what I see from Öhlins. With the Öhlins kit, they recommend you have 165 millimeters from the top until you reach oil, so that's less oil, and that's without the springs inserted, so just empty compressed forks. You can use a thing like this, measure the distance to what you want it set at, lock it down, put in, suck out excess oil. Yamaha recommends, I think, around 120 millimeters, so that's way more oil. It's not that big of a deal. You can research how it will impact the air. It acts like an air cushion, so it will be a softer suspension if you have more air, because it will more cushion out things. Oil does not compress, so it will be harder on small impacts. What do we do? What do I want? Do I want it harder? Do I want it softer?
I know what you like.
I like it hard. 400, that lands us around 130 millimeters. It's a good compromise. We're gonna do 130. It's good enough. These are I'm showing you how to do it. But if you wanna like learn every single specification like a nerd, service manual, ask your local shop as well. They will have a service schedule for your bike. If they're kind enough, they will print it out for you and it will tell you precisely how much you need, or you can get the how-to manual like I have for other brands. Like I can just look up like a Aprilia fork and it'll tell me exactly how to do the job and everything. So we'll stick with 130. We'll put the spring, Öhlins spring in with the washer in there. Get our spacer, and now I'll actually do the dust seal before I put the cap in. We'll just slide that bad boy on, and since this has a guard up front, I like to press that side down first, then I go around putting it in position. There we go. It looks slightly different than the OEM one. It's up to you if you care about that. Now we'll put the cap on and pull up the fork leg. And then press down, spin it the wrong way around till I feel the click, and then I'll go forward. This Öhlins kit has a 32 millimeter instead of 22, so now I can use this tool, get that on there. Perfect. I don't have to get it super tight. I can make sure it's the correct tightness once it's on the bike and the triple clamp is holding on to the tube for me, but that is going to be airtight. Now as a final touch, you can see these rings kind of help you see how much preload you have, because that's a nice feature with this. I just want all of the preload. So what I'm gonna do is spin the preload all the way in to make my forks as stiff as possible. And that is a oily but rebuilt freaking fork. Let's clean it off with some brake clean. Clean this bad mamma jamma off. And that's a rebuilt MT-07 fork. It's the exact, and I mean exact same routine on the other fork leg. Oh, one difference. This thing has this pinch nut on the side for the axle. You do have to remove that completely to get in there and get the nut out. That's the only difference. Same amount of oil in both sides, same everything, all right? So let's move on to getting this back on the bike. Okay. And now I'll just align the cap line at the top, like so. And then I'll pinch it in down here. And when you are torquing these, if you put this at 40, no, they're like 23. So if you put the lower one at 23 and then you do the upper one 23, you're not done. You have to do this again and kind of go back and forth a little bit, just because one will affect the other. I'm gonna actually put this in with one screw so we have that done. I'll put this one in as well. I'll run through all the torque specs at the very end. So the last thing we'll do is do all the torques. Just click, 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 click. Do we have a deal?
Yes.
All right, now that we have it in position, I have the clamp bolts holding it for me. I will just make sure that these caps, before I tighten this down, are tight. Yeah, that's good. We can do the upper pinch bolts. There we go.
Put the tire on.
Tire on.
Tire on.
The whole wheel, in fact.
In the right way.
A lot of people get this wrong when it comes to motorcycle front tires. So the pattern actually goes the wrong way around. If you have a rear tire, it moves forward, just like on a car. But on the front tires on bikes, it goes towards the rear. That's why you have like the arrows here. That's indicating the direction, but also specifying if it's a front wheel. And on the rear tire, a lot of the time it will say rear, because depending on if it's a front or rear placement, they want the thread to be going in different directions. I'll just lift it up and get it in there.
Mechanic comedy.
If you have a lot of oil on your calipers, you can clean it with brake clean, but I'm gonna clean my whole bike soon, so.
This is why you have such big muscles, because you do a lot of twisting.
No.
No.
No, I don't have any time to work out anymore. I would have way bigger muscles. But all I do is work. I was here 6:30 this morning, and then I worked starting 6:30. I took 30 minutes for lunch. I took off my watch because it was itching. What time is it? 21:20, so almost 9:30 at night. And I'm still working to get this video for you guys. And once we are done with this, around 10 p.m., we're gonna get going on that bike, and around 1 a.m. I get to go home. Around 2 a.m. I get to go to bed. Only, what, 21 hours after I woke up to go here?
Very
Subscribe, like the video, please. Just like the video. Send it to a friend who needs this info. Subscribe. I mean, look at this freaking bike, dude. We do a lot of fun stuff. We have a build series on this bike. We stunt kit the whole thing. It's almost done. You should check that out and to follow to see the continuation of it. Where's the Grom at? Come on, come on. Come over here. Look, we have a matching Grom. We're being all professional. Look at that shit. We have a go-kart. I'll show you the go-kart. Come here. This is all that's left of the go-kart, because we are stripping it down and completely renovating it. Like the frame is off that powder coating with the wheels right now. We're getting all new plastics for it. We're getting a matching kit for that as well. We're tuning it up. We're making it go fast. And then there's a lot of rides. There's the stunt rides. There's the first rides of bikes. There's these info videos. I put out a YouTube video every single week, and I have a full-time job where I work a lot of overtime.
And you teach me how to wheelie. That's the best.
Ooh, and I teach you guys how to wheelie. Watch that video. It's very good if you want to learn it as safe as possible. No guarantees you won't crash though. It's what it's all about, baby. Let's torque this bitch down. I'll start with a triple clamp and we will work our way down. And we have upper 26 Newton meters, not foot-pound. 25, 26, that's about 10, 15 foot-pound. Don't take my word for it. Boom, 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 click, click, click. Other side, same deal. Boom, 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 click, click, click. Now the lower ones are 23. I don't know, fucking 10 foot-pounds up. You Americans figure it out, all right? So lower one. Upper one, then we do the lower one again a bit more. Upper one, upper, lower, upper again, lower. Yeah, that's good until you see no difference. Once it clicks right away on both, boom, 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 you are done. Let's move to the calipers. Pretty important that they are in the right place. Very common torque here. It's 40 Newton meters on all 4 nuts. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, 40 is like 30 foot-pounds, give or take a pound. Let's do 65 for the front axle. I'll do 70. I don't give a frick, dude. Boom, 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 boom. Now we have the pinch bolt. I forgot it over there. Give me a second. 23 and me. A bit more. There we go. Whew. And then we have this one. I'm not gonna go get my tiny torque thing for this one. It just needs to be like good. Yeah, that's good enough. The thing will start to flex, hopefully. You'll feel this change in resistance. Pinch bolts, wheel axle, the nut for the wheel axle, the ABS, the brakes. It still spins. Everything works. If you get like some oil on your forks in the coming days right after you do this, that's not uncommon. It should go away, but if they're like really leaking still, you probably have a bent fork leg or scratches on your fork leg, or you messed up the process and cut the seal somehow. All right, let's get this bad boy down, and I'm gonna show you the difference between stock front suspension and this. We already have the saggy ass fix on this. It's like just nothing happens when you push there. But now it's gonna be stiff in the front as well. Boy, it's stiff. But this is max preload. So this is me jumping on the modded bike. And here we have an unmodded stock. Yeah, there's way more compression going on there. If you want, I can do a trial ride video, but I can tell you from experience when I first put in the Öhlins, because this kit has been in my old bike before I took it out. And so I put the Öhlins in, I put the Öhlins shock in the rear, and it made a huge difference when I was sport riding, like in the curves, in the corners. It was bouncy before, like a pogo stick. It didn't give me any confidence. Now with the Öhlins, it acts way more like you expect it to. It just sits in the corners way nicer. It's a nice ass upgrade. The springs aren't that expensive. I would even recommend getting just any YSS or cheap springs to replace with some stiffer springs and thicker oil. It does a lot. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. It's like 10 p.m. We gotta do another bike now because this guy helped me film this whole video for you. Make sure you like and subscribe and come back for the more of the adventures we're gonna do. I'm making every single video I wish was out there when I was first learning, and then also sick build series. We have the freaking go-kart in pieces, renovating that, the Grom, the MT-07. Oh, good night, guys. I love you. Take care. Bye.